Well, good morning. Happy Monday. Listen, I am excited that it's Monday. I really like Monday mornings, like new beginnings. And to me, Monday is a new opportunity to start over. And so this morning, as I continue with my series on relationships, because we are offering the class, Think Your Way to a Better Marriage. The next class will start in November 17th. So you can go now to the website and sign up if you want to be enrolled in the next class. Think Your Way to a Better Marriage. I am so excited about this class because one thing for me that has always been important is marriage. I didn't get married just to be happy. Well, I did. I got married thinking I just wanted to be happily married, but I wasn't ever in I never romanticized marriage. I understood it would take a lot of work. I knew it would be hard and challenging, but I was committed to that. Now, over the 27 years of being married, there was certainly a time when I thought my marriage would end in divorce. I'm grateful that both my husband and I went and got work. What we did, I got a coach, he got a counselor, and we began to dig into the me issue instead of the we issue. So I don't always think that the problem in the marriage is a marriage problem. I absolutely believe that oftentimes the problem in a marriage is a individual's problem, hurt, pain, disappointment that we bring with us into the marriage. That now is a huge part and a huge barrier in the marriage, and no one teaches us what to do with that. Many times before we start doing the emotional work required, we hope that our partner is the answer or the solution to this hurt and pain. But what I've learned in marriage is your partner will continuously, over and over and over, trigger that pain. And I believe that happens because God wants to heal that pain, and He can't heal what you don't reveal. And so this morning, I want to talk to you guys about communication. Communication, because if you go anywhere, workshop, webinar, marriage retreat. I've been on women's retreats. And you ask a woman, and I imagine this happened for men too, what is the biggest issue in your marriage? Most people will say communication. We struggle to communicate. What I hear now, when I hear people say that, and I'm like, well, what is the problem? They, it's often they don't understand me, or they don't listen to me, or I say things, but then they keep doing the same thing. What I absolutely know is we think we are communicating. It's as though we're two people speaking the same language, but really we're speaking different languages. And what we have to understand, like men and women, we hear differently, we receive information differently. Um, and so it can seem as though we're both speaking English, if that is your language of choice, but it doesn't mean that you're understanding the words that are being chosen to communicate the English effectively. And I get tickled because I think about a friend of mine who is from Europe, from the UK, and here I am from America. We both speak English, but there are times with certain words where we're both looking at each other like, what? What do you mean by that? And so we're both speaking English, but we don't necessarily understand what the other one means because um, the word and culture for certain things are different. And I find that to be true in marriage, particularly like the way men perceive, think, and the way women perceive and think is different. So this morning, I just want to share with you three things that I think are extremely important that can change and improve your relationships. Now, this is going to require some work on your part because what happened is oftentimes we just want our partners to fix it, to change, that we think the problem is our partner. Listen, I was guilty of that for years. I used to pray and ask God to fix Andre, and then God started asking me, what about you? And I said, oh, you changed the conversation. I don't want to talk to you anymore. But so I'm asking you, take some time and really dig into your own work to find out how effective are you at communicating? And the first thing I need you to learn is, what are your emotional needs? Google them if you have to. You need language to express to yourself first and then to your partner what you really need emotionally. And so some of those emotional needs are things like maybe you need to feel significant. Like maybe you have an extremely high need to be important to your partner. And of course you might be thinking, well, of course, Kenesha, I need to be important. They're my spouse. They should know that. That's the misnomer. Like a lot of times, particularly I hear this with women, he should know. Well, if he doesn't, you should tell him. And it's not that they don't know that you want to be important to them. The truth of the matter is they absolutely think that they are doing things to communicate how important you are. They may be doing things like paying the bills, asking you, what do you need anything, bringing you your favorite lunch. They may be doing things in their minds that's showing you how important you are. But your emotional need for importance may need to be seen or expressed a different way. So I'll share with you from me. We all by now should know about the love language if you don't get the book. So my love language is quality time. My highest emotional need, oftentimes, because it can vary, you need all six. But when I started this work, my highest emotional need was the need to feel significant. I needed to feel important at all times, which can be draining, which is why ultimately the need has to be met by God, not through your spouse. That's a tidbit. I need you to hold on to that. But I needed to, my desire and my love language is quality time. My need is to feel significant. Now, my husband could assume that because we spent the day together at going to the movies, going shopping, that he's met my highest need. But what if we are moving amongst each other and we're not talking? What if, because you go to the movies, you're not talking to each other. So there's the quality time. But how is my need for significance getting fulfilled if we're just staring at a movie? I need to be talked to. I need to be maybe told, oh, I think you look beautiful. Maybe I need to be told, um, man, this, I can't do life without you. I know it sounds like, wow, that's a bit much, Kenesha. Perhaps it is. But what I'm saying is, if you have an emotional need, another need you might have is the need to feel safe, emotionally safe, or certainty. So certainty can show up where you're the person who need a lot of the answers to a situation. What are we doing? Why are we doing that? How long is it going to take? How much is it going to cost us? Who all is involved? What made you decide to make this decision? You're asking a lot of questions, and so your partner may perceive that as you don't trust them, or you're doing too much, or why you got to have all these questions asked. Your need for certainty will require you to ask a lot of questions because you are trying to gather enough information to feel safe and certain about either the decision that's been made or the situation you're facing. That's the emotional need. And without understanding what the need is driving you, you could feel like you're being unfair, or your partner can feel like you're being too much. You might hear that. So if you're the person, and put it in the comment, let me know if you're the person where your partner or people around you say, you're doing too much, you're doing too much. I want you to know you're not doing too much. The problem is you're not communicating at a level that they understand what your too much is trying to get, gain, or accomplish. Okay. And so maybe you yourself don't understand what your too much is trying to get, gain, or accomplish. And what it's trying to do is get this need met, this emotional need met that you may not be aware of. Therefore, you can't communicate from it because you don't even know what it is. You just know that in certain situations, you need a whole lot of information to have a level of certainty before you move forward. That's your high need for safety and certainty. There's nothing wrong with you. Doesn't make you right or wrong, doesn't make them right or wrong. It's just your emotional need. So there are more emotional needs. I need you to get to work and figure out what those are. The other way to improve your communication is you have to start communicating with honesty and kindness. Because this is what I noticed. There's this really great book, Tina Lyford. Let me see. You guys know me and my books. Here it is. This is a great book. I encourage you to get this book, The Little Book of Big Lies. Great book, great book, great book. And what the reason I want you to get this book is because in the book she explains that, because she's an actress, she explains that we have to begin to be I think she calls it a director, meaning you have to learn how to stand back from a conversation and even the conversations that's going on in your mind and observe. So a lot of times when you're trying to explain something to people, that this happened, and then they begin to tell their story about something similar that happened in your story, and you started this conversation hoping for help or compassion or empathy, and then a person starts, I call it like kidnapping your story or kidnapping your space. It's because they are not observing what you're saying. They are now engaged in the think of it as an acting scene. They're engaged in the play with you, and they're now showing up to do their part. But what you want them to do is observe. So I need you to, as a spouse or as a partner in a relationship, I need you to learn how to observe what your partner is saying, not get lost in what they're saying. And that's going to feel important. I mean, that's going to feel impossible at first. But this is the only way you can really learn to hear for understanding. It's when you begin, and that's the third thing you have to improve your communication. In order for me to hear for understanding, I cannot get lost in when Andre starts saying things to me like, I don't like it when you do blah, blah, blah. Because if I get lost in what he's saying, my natural desire is to defend myself. What do you mean when I do this and when I do that? But when I listen as an observer, right, that I am not in the play with him, I am watching him to learn. I can hear him say, it upsets me when you always leave the towel on the counter. When spent the whole evening cleaning up the kitchen, and then I come in and you just take the towel and throw it. That bothers me. Now I can get defensive and be like, well, you always leave the lights on. That doesn't solve the problem. When I become the observer, I can hear, wow, something as simple as leaving the towel on the counter bothers him. That's not a big deal. I can move the towel. I can now be conscious and always put the towel back. But if I am in the conversation with him, if I am in it, then I am defensive. Now I want to think about all the things you do wrong that I want to point out. That doesn't improve communication. And so what we're listening for is, what is the need that my partner has that I'm not meeting? And so maybe in that, just being careless with the towel, I can make him feel unvalued because he's put a lot of work and effort into cleaning the kitchen. And then here I come and do this little thing. And many times as women, we do that, right? We think about that. Maybe you do the laundry, or you clean the bathroom or whatever, and then your spouse come and just leave something somewhere. And now it's a huge argument about, I can't believe you left this there, and then stop arguing about the thing, talk about the feeling, and now you're communicating at a different level. So if you want to improve your communication skills, here are the three things, because I'm at my time. Get clear about your emotional need. So do the work, do the research, Google, figure out what it is emotionally that you really need, your highest needs, because that's what's driving you. 2, learn to communicate with honesty and kindness. So get clear about what it is you're trying to say from your need and say that with honesty and kindness. And then the last thing, learn to listen for understanding. Learn to be the observer of what's going on around you guys or what your partner is saying. And try not to be in it with them when they're communicating so that you don't go into defense mode. Listen, I pray that this helps. Go back and listen to some of the videos from last week. There is a lot of full of like a lot of good advice on how to manage this marriage relationship thing where you guys are communicating better and growing together instead of tearing each other apart. I want to see marriages thrive, and I know they can do it because I've been there where we thought we was on the verge of divorce and we was able to turn it around, and you can too. So I want you to have an amazing day. Do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe to my videos. And also, if you are the person watching this and you need help in your relationships and you're like, I don't know, I don't try this. My husband and I work together and we're running a program called Think Your Way to a Better Marriage. Go to my website, verythoughtfullife.com, to learn more. We would love for you to join us. Our next class starts November 17th. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.